Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Welcome to the
Oh.
Friends and Rivals podcast.
Let's talk Devils and Islanders, let's talk Penguins and Rangers, but let's not talk about Flyers, cause they're a bunch of fucks, which no one can deny,
Thank goodness two people have access to the background shit on here.
You're
Or we
off
would
your
be-
game already.
I don't
started.
have a game today. I'm just saying that right now. Right now, it is I don't even know where I am in the world right now, let alone
South Florida.
podcast. Yes, I thank you, Billy. I am in
No
South
problem.
Florida. But you know, a big fuck you goes out to every cable service imaginable for not allowing me to watch the Ranger Islander game right now. I don't have access to the Ranger Islander game. Billy pays for ESPN Plus. I pay for my Spectrum. I still can't stream the whole I can't stream any of the game because they're simulcasting on NHL Network. And if the game is on NHL Network, it is blacked out on ESPN Plus. And if your hotel room doesn't have it and your cable company doesn't put it on their app unless you're in network, you, my friend, are screwed from watching anything and still paying money for all of these services. So that's a big fuck you to all these cable services. In this day and age, why in God's name would there be blackouts?
How hasn't Trump fixed this yet?
This is the problem. I don't think he knows.
He's just gonna put more tariffs on, man. Just tariffs.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
gonna
no,
Waste some
but
time
NHL.
scaring the shit out of Zelensky.
This is Zelensky's
Well,
fault.
listen,
Clearly.
if you show up to the White House in a sweatshirt, you're going to get talked down to. Just throwing that out there.
So does that mean that Elon Musk should be talked down to? Because he never wears
Yes!
a suit.
1,000%. Holy crap. When did these people learn how to be professionals? Is it just because you make $1 billion, you don't have to abide by the rules? You make your own rules?
So on Zelensky's side, whenever a country is at war, they never dress up for these kinds of meetings.
Yep.
That's
at
just
all.
kind of
At
like
all.
tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, Zelensky hasn't worn a suit for 3 years because his country's at war and being invaded actively. So why would you wear a suit? Makes no sense.
So if your country's at war, you don't have to dress professional. You can just dress down. It's
You,
like
you
hoodies and
typically
swingers.
don't.
not-
You typically
Is that what it
don't
is?
dress up for these
It's
kinds
not
of
a-
meetings
yeah.
as a
$2
sign
dress
of-
down day.
Yeah,
It's more of-
yeah.
it's more of
So
showing
why wouldn't you
respect.
always go to war?
To your people. It's more
Just always go to war. You never have to wear a suit.
It's brilliant. I gotta say it's freaking brilliant.
Well,
I've been
but
at war for 49 fucking years.
listen. One day you'll beat that toilet, buddy. One day you'll get it.
So getting back to this streaming issue, you're right. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. They're losing
In this day and age,
They're losing eyes on the product
Yeah.
by having this. Like,
So is it because do you think it's because of these old deals they've signed with these cable companies and they're kind of stuck in them?
when
But this
was the
isn't
last
even-
collective bargaining? The last TV deal was like 2 years ago.
this is this is just so NHL Network can say, "Hey, Hilton, you should carry our network so the people from New York who are in Florida can watch this game."
It wouldn't be that. It would be the same thing if a person was in freaking New Jersey that was a Florida Panther fan tonight and the NHL Network had the Panthers Lightning game on. It would be the same thing. So it's not just New York people.
No,
But
but it's
everybody.
It's a bargaining chip that the NHL Network thinks they have to try and get these hotels to carry their network, and it's never going to happen.
The very first thing, at least I can only speak for what happens when I walk into a Marriott. I'm a Marriott person, not a Hilton person or anybody else. When I walk into a Marriott, the TV says, you want to stream or do you want to watch regular TV? So they're already in the process of putting up those streaming services right on their TVs in every level every category of hotel that there are out there, from Residence Inn to Spring Hill Suites to Courtyards to everybody. All their TVs work exactly the same way. Some have NHL Network, some don't. I guess it's just dependent upon the hotel itself, but every hotel has NFL Network. Every hotel has Golf Channel. Every hotel has ESPN. Why not just NHL Network too? Is it so hard to? You probably have it as part of your package anyway that you're not using, but you're paying for in your satellite service.
It's in a different package in some carriers. Like some carriers, it's not in the basic package.
It's like
You gotta
NFL
get-
Red Zone.
You got to get like the elevated package in order to get it.
Christ Almighty! Literally, that's fine. It's no problem. All they have to do is just what can we do to take off the blackout?
They should just
Like
that should just
if
be
I'm
taken
outside-
off in general.
Yes, and their viewership would go up. I talk out of my ass as my my
I
friend says.
subscribe to the if you don't charge people for it, they're going to use it, and then you could make the money some other way, right? If you could say we're going to get another 500,000 eyes on the product and on any night, you should be able to make up that money in lost carrier fees through ad revenue.
I love it. And anything that will allow me to watch the fucking Ranger Islander game tonight would have been.
You're
preferred.
not missing anything.
I'm missing. What are you talking about? We're up 3-0
It's not
in the third
competitive.
period over the Icelanders.
It's not
Over-
competitive though.
But that's not a game that he would enjoy watching.
No.
Right. This
No,
is absolutely a
You
game
would
I would enjoy.
absolutely-
Look
I
at
don't
Nick's face.
understand this argument.
For the
Look
at
first
Nick's
time
face.
in your life, you would feel bad for the Islanders.
I don't think it's
No
that
one ever-
much of a disparity as much as being 3-0, but
I laughed really hard. I don't know how that came across to me.
it sounded like a evil cackle. Like, ah! That's what it sounded like. It's free play.
But yes, I don't care how boring the game is. I would be enjoying a 3-0 Ranger win over the Icelanders and Aaron Sorkin.
I suck.
Absolutely, I would be. No, I don't.
I mean, one goal went off Coyle's head. That was deflected. They just showed a replay of it. Deflected, then hit Coyle in the head and went over Sorokin. Like, that
That would
was
be so much
Who?
fun to watch. My God.
Coyle?
Coyle. Little Coyle.
No, Cooley. Will Cooley.
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 Cooley
No,
Coyle.
it's just Cooley.
He's not that cool.
But listen, I'm gonna find.
That was, I'll tell you what, that was an absolute header too. That was not,
That's off the
accidental.
dome.
he
Maybe not
totally like,
accidental. Yeah, okay. He definitely just moved his head, trying to not get hit in the head.
I'm sure it was awesome for everybody who can watch it. I'm sure it was awesome.
You should see oh wait, you can't. You can't see the
I can't. I'll have to go on the Twix later and see if I can find something. But listen, this is our last episode before. Oh wait, before we get into it, Steve, you posted something about MSG Network, and so MSG Network has been seems like they've been in a fight with just about every cable company. It seems, whether they hold
recently
their
came
services
back
away
to-
or anything else.
It recently came back to one of the carriers. Like they recently
It was
renegotiated.
Optimum.
Yeah,
Optimum.
their own. Right.
Optimum, MSG, don't they? They're owned by the same people, which is completely and utter
They were.
asinine.
They were.
Completely
Apparently they're
and
not
utterly
anymore.
asinine. And this is all Dolan, right? Dolan's like in charge of all of that.
Well, he's not in charge of. That's what I was reading because when they had the disagreement there, I was scratching my head. But apparently, at some point, they sold off that piece. Now you would think they would keep allies there, who would be like yes men, and you think they'd have some kind of a advantage there, but apparently not.
But it looks like they're very, very close, according to the screenshot Steve shared. on the verge of possible bankruptcy.
They owe nearly $1 billion at the end of the month.
Jesus Christ.
It could be a good news thing because, well, I mean, the three of us, as the Rangers, the Isles, and Devils, are all their regional network is MSG
I don't
Networks.
have enough. I don't have enough
You don't know what?
money to buy the network.
You gonna chip
No,
in?
I meant
What
that,
kind of chip
that
in?
What are we talking?
The blackouts could be lifted if they go to
Oh, yeah.
different. You know, if their rights are now up for grabs and someone else grabs them, it's possible that they don't have blackouts for these teams.
No,
I mean,
it's possible that Bally Sports or somebody like that is going to buy MSG Network, or they're going to
possible.
be absorbed into, I don't know, whatever the big one is right now.
I think
Like Gotham Sport. You guys are doing Gotham Sports up there right now?
Gotham Sports is a conglomerate of
Right.
just for streaming, though.
Is that right?
I think the end game in all of this is each team is going to broadcast its own games online only, and then there will be national games. The regional sports network thing just doesn't seem to be working out for anybody, or they can't figure out a way to get it to work out.
No, there was Bally Sports down here for a little bit, and then that got bought out, or they
And then it
went
was
bankrupt or some bullshit.
FanDuel or one of the
Yeah.
one of the betting companies.
I don't know. It seems like it's the next thing that they got to figure out. There's this whole transition from all right, I'll give you an example. Ryan got his first computer. So he took Tyler's old Tower PC and is now using that because it's a pretty decent machine. Even though Tyler outgrew it, it's still a pretty decent machine. So I have a monitor downstairs that I typically use for the podcast. So I said, Ryan, go downstairs, take that monitor. It's a better monitor than the crappy one that you're using right now, and put it upstairs. And he asked me the question, do I need to program the home screen on my PC again? I thought that was a really weird question until I actually sat down. And as I was driving down here, I thought about it, is that Ryan's generation is all about these things. And the way you situate your apps and your icons on your home screen is different for every device that you have. And he just assumed that the monitor, as opposed to just being a display, needs to be set up like your phone or your tablet would. I thought it was a really interesting question to show the dynamics between somebody who's been brought up on PCs and monitors their whole life like we have versus somebody who just knows this. That was really, really interesting.
I can't wait for him to try and touch and drag the screen. And he'll tell you the monitor's broken.
I'm actually hoping that does happen.
Oh, God,
I'm really, really hoping that does happen. But this seems like an evolution of the TV and the way that local sports are broadcasted. I think they got a handle on the national stuff. I think that's good. I don't think it needs to be changed, but I think the local stuff needs to be addressed, and they got to figure a way to do it because it's not just the NHL, right? It's Major League Baseball, it's NBA, it's everybody except football that's in this little boat that they've carved themselves that in. So I don't see why teams wouldn't just have an app and say, you want to watch our games?
Buy our app. Yeah.
Buy the app.
$20 a month.
Service for the app.
It's
$20 a month.
Giant pain in the ass, especially for bars and things like where you have multiple games and hotels, like we we're talking about. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to end up in like a couple big companies, things like Apple has the MLS, right? They just got this whole deal with MLS. And the nice thing there is I don't think there's blackouts. I think you can just watch every single game if you get the whole thing, right?
But you need to subscribe to an additional package above just Apple TV.
Yeah.
It would be like Apple TV Plus, right? But you get everything.
But you get everything, which is not the case for like any of the other sports, especially football, where you have to have like 7 different subscriptions to see every game. And it costs $500 if you want to do the actual annual thing now. Yeah, it's insane for the what they call it, the NFL ticket. Right? Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, NFL Sunday ticket. Yeah.
Sunday ticket, yeah. And we didn't do it this year. I just went, I did? I just did ESPN, not ESPN, the NFL Network or NFL app.
Red Zone?
Yeah, just for Red Zone. It was like $20 a month, and every week I just put in Red Zone. It was great because I didn't have to watch the Jets the entire time.
You didn't see
'Cause-
any Jets. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, barely. Yeah, barely any Jets, which was fine because then I got to watch actual games and see other players, and then watch my fantasy teams. And then, like, even if I didn't watch a game because we were out or something, I didn't feel bad because it was only $20 a month, not, as opposed to like, God knows what we're gonna pay, for the trying to do a 2 or 3-way, deal with my family, trying to figure out how to get all of us to watch all the games. Just is insane. So like with hockey, they got to do it. I'm sure something like that'll happen. Maybe Amazon, who I thought might pick it up, or another Netflix maybe. They just got into the WWE, and that's doing pretty well, I would imagine.
Sure is. Sure is.
So, that could be the future of it. And then what happens then, I guess, with how these apps are on TVs and such, and maybe they start figuring out like corporate accounts or something that they can just put on every TV, as opposed to like an individual personal account, which is what we have now. Everybody has a personal account. Maybe that's where they go to it, because we're slowly fading out cable TV. It's just, it's kind of like, why at this point? You have everything on streaming.
I gotta tell you, Nick, it's included in my HOA fee, so I don't pay a lot for cable internet to begin with, which was a vast difference between it being in New Jersey and being in Florida. Huge difference. I pay $40 a month for cable service at my house.
and
$40.
whatever you pay to the HOA,
Yeah,
goes
it's
towards it.
$28 a month to the HOA. So I'm not paying really anything for cable TV, and I get my internet, my cable service, everything through that. So I think I think we're still in the transition phase between cutting the cord like everybody was doing, and people who just like to channel surf, because you have streaming services, you can't channel. There is no channel surfing. There is pick what you want.
You can, because on Verizon, you can go to channel 838 on Verizon, and that's the Netflix channel.
Okay.
Yeah, they have channels.
You can channel surf on Verizon and then go over to a streaming
but
service.
You're opening up a browser to sign in.
But you never
to
have
Netflix,
to leave. But you never have to leave Verizon. You don't have to change an input on the TV or anything like that.
Okay, but that's fine. But once you're in Netflix, there is no guide that comes up and says, well, this, and this is on. You have to go through their entire catalog to figure out what you want to watch and like. Whereas cable just puts shit on and you turn something on and you watch it. Very, very simple. So I think there's a dynamic there for the channel surfers and the way that we've been watching TV all of our lives compared to the way, when Ryan gets our age, it's going to be completely different for him, because that generation will have caught up. And now there's something new because that's what they're accustomed to. I don't think we're there yet with the whole cable thing and everybody cutting the cord and going to apps and shit like that. I don't.
I didn't know there were still channel
some
surfers.
cases, well, I'm definitely a channel surfer.
I'm a channel surfer,
1,000% channel surfer.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
I haven't looked at that. Unless my parents' house. That's it. I could not care less. I don't watch any commercials, man. I don't watch any of that stuff.
No, I know, but you just record something and you watch it and you skip through all the commercials, and you get upset if your DVR misses something and you got to watch it on demand because you're forced to watch commercials. Then we'll let you fast forward. But there's a whole bunch of that shit. But I just don't think we're there yet.
No.
To where the dynamic of the channel surfer is 100% gone yet. And I think it has too much of a strong stranglehold on everybody. But it all comes down to the blackouts. Lift the blackouts, and I don't think we're even having this conversation. But the problem that the local sports channels have is after the game's over,
who cares?
Why are people coming to your network to watch anything?
Well, they just keep broadcasting poker. So why would I go there?
Right. For the poker people, that's amazing. But what can they put on those local sports stations in order to attract people to watch? Could they put more local stuff on there, more high school, more college, local college things on there? Like, I don't know, like post like in your area, why wouldn't they put like Rutgers women's volleyball on? I think that
they
would
all
attract
have-
attract viewers.
because the Big
Philly
Ten
would
network's
watch.
got a channel.
Yeah.
So why would
Yeah,
the
you're
Big
right.
Ten network want
They
to
all
give
have
up
networks,
any content?
Because Big Ten's got Penn State versus Indiana, and
Doesn't
then you
matter.
get Rutgers and who else?
They have Big Ten Plus. If you want to watch the Rutgers game, you go on to the Big Ten Plus app and you can watch the Rutgers game.
Yeah, but there's nothing to say that couldn't be simulcasted locally on that station. That's another way for those two companies to have a business arrangement to make more money. That's all that is.
It would be, but they're all too greedy at this point because they
yeah,
don't
and I
know
think
how. Because they ultimately don't know the end game, so they don't want to make a deal right now that's going to screw them in 2 years.
It's all about them saying we're doing this all for our customer base when they don't know who the fuck their customers are. The same way Gary Bettman during the strikes or in the lockouts always said, we're doing this for the fans with the fans in mind and all about the fans. And it was all bullshit. It was all, every one of those lockouts was bullshit.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, it was.
I thought they got everything
was,
fixed
Bill.
and it was
no.
everything was
Wasn't it
perfect.
for us?
Oh my
Wasn't it
God.
for the viewers? Didn't we all? Wasn't it for America? Come on.
Yeah,
I thought we
exactly.
came out on top in that deal.
Yeah, but listen, NHL, just start with the blackouts. Get rid of them. They're not needed in this world that we live in.
They've always been a forward-thinking league, just because they had to be, because they were the fourth out of the four major sports. They will be the first ones to do something dramatic like that.
I hope so. I hope so.
I don't know. Maybe
it can't come soon enough. That's all I know.
After Bettman's gone, if he retires, maybe. I don't see it under Bettman changing.
Please let that happen.
Billy,
You're asking a lot there.
Oh,
Who do you want to go
please let
first?
a jumbotron fall on him.
Oh,
Bettman or Boone?
God.
Who loses their job first?
Or Dolan?
Or Cashman. These guys are lifers,
Lou.
Unfireable people.
man. Yeah, jeez. When did people become unfireable? Oh, it's terrible.
They are literally Lou, Bettman, Cashman, and Boone and Dolan are the only 5 unfireable people in the whole world.
Yeah, but out of those, Dolan's the only one who's the boss.
And
So you
Mike
can't really
Mike
fire him.
Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin doesn't seem to ever. He'll never get
At least he's been kind of successful. I mean, he's like middle of the road ish. Make the playoffs every year, but
Ish.
I don't know.
But listen, the trade deadline is fast. It got here really freaking quick. Like crap. It is this Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be the NHL trade deadline. And the Rangers are one of the teams over the weekend that did make a significant trade, sending Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey along with the rights for some unsigned draft pick for Juuso Parsisanen. I feel like Nick there. And Calvin DeHaan amongst other things. And Lindgren's salary is 50% retained on that deal. So they get a center who's got some size and a little bit of skill on the youth. And listen, you get rid of Philip Heel, you got to replace him. And this, I think, is the ideal guy to replace him with. Not necessarily this guy, but the caliber of player, the type of player to fill that third line role. I think it's a great thing. And the Rangers are definitely transitioning themselves into, I don't know, they still don't have an identity yet. I don't think their lines are very well balanced yet. But this week is gonna show us a lot, as well as this summer, of what more is to come from the Rangers transitioning from the team they were to the team they are going to be. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, there are some teams that lost significant players that will impact the trade deadline, and one of them is the Florida Panthers. And you can already see with Matthew Tkachuk going on LTIR, they did not waste any time and bolstered their defense to get Seth Jones from the Chicago Blackhawks. I thought it's a really good move. Seth Jones, when Columbus was in a playoff position, he was a pretty decent player. Signs a big deal, goes to Chicago. Chicago's bottom drops out from their team, and they go into rebuild mode. And Seth Jones is just sitting there for the past 2 years, and I'm sure that took a lot out of him. But we are going to see what Seth Jones is after this trade to the Florida Panthers. I like this move for him, and Chicago got some value in return from him. They didn't just give him away. They got some value in return for Seth Jones, for sure. They got a number one goaltender potentially for the next decade, for sure. So, and these are the type of moves that you're going to see over the next 4 days, and very excited about it. Another team that could be making a Vegas push, putting somebody on LTIR and then using their cap on rentals. Could it be the New Jersey Devils?
We will find out tomorrow. Jack flew home to New Jersey today.
He could do that with his arms?
Yes.
I mean,
just one arm. So he went in a circle the whole way.
I just wanted to annoy Bill. Mission accomplished.
So really flew home today. We'll get further testing. Somebody said that there's a chance it's not going to be
not as bad. Yeah,
as bad as expected.
Hopefully.
Even if it's 2 weeks, it's going to severely affect this team because he's the only one that scores on a consistent basis. But I think at this point, you don't mortgage the future to get a rental. You don't mortgage the future to get a guy who's up there in age. Just for this season, because they're not going to go deep this season, no matter what.
But what if somebody just wants to dump some salary and you can get somebody useful and use that injury to gain some space?
If you're going to lose him in order to make the space, it's not going to make you better. If you've got to put Jack on long-term injured reserve just to get somebody, it doesn't help the team between now and the end of the season staying in that playoff spot. They could go in the shitter in the final 20 games of the season and fall out of a playoff spot.
Somebody has to make the playoffs, so that's the thing.
I was going to say.
Yes.
I mean,
it's going to have to do it.
The Devils could possibly have the bottom drop out that hard that somebody would catch them.
They do have games in hand, or they have 62 games played, I should say.
So 18 games left.
Are ahead. They are ahead a couple games. So it's possible that could happen. That the Devils could implode, but
they're only 6 points ahead. They're only 6 points ahead of Detroit.
No. They're only 4 points ahead of the Blue Jackets.
No, I'm saying for the last spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're only 8 points up on Ottawa. Ottawa's got 3 games in hand.
Yeah, but
if
after
Ottawa
tonight,
wins
Rangers
all 3 of those games.
If Rangers are now,
we found out last year that's a big if. And the Rangers, they'll be at 66 points after this.
Yep.
After this game, if they hang on.
So 66 points, 6 points behind the Devils.
And they do hang on. They do
with one game with a game in hand.
Right.
That's not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. It's 3 games.
No, the Rangers making the playoffs is not out of the question completely.
No, there's a lot could happen. I mean, I guess it depends.
Does this put them in the playoffs?
No,
ahead of Detroit.
They're
no. The season doesn't end for another 6 weeks.
No, I know that, but they're
tied. But because Detroit's got the game in hand, they would leave Detroit.
Their win percentage. So it goes points, win percentage, wins, matchup, head-to-head matchup. I think that's the
Yeah.
tiebreakers.
No, regulation wins would be the
Regulation
first
wins.
tiebreaker. Yeah, the Rangers got 30 regulation wins. Detroit's got 27. So it's good to have
What?
those regulation wins.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Rangers have 29 regulation wins.
Regulation wins is 29. They have a
Yes,
much better.
and yeah, Detroit has 22.
Yeah.
I was looking at the ROW, which is
ROW is
regular overtime
overtime.
wins.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's significant different. I mean, the Rangers have just as many regulation wins as the Devils.
Yeah. So to say that it's a foregone conclusion that the Devils are making the playoffs is not. It's not a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. Without Hughes for an extended period of time, but not necessarily the entire rest of the season, is going to be really costly.
It was like a week ago. Like foregone conclusion, Devils are making the playoffs. They were almost. You can almost pen that in, not even pencil.
But since the end of January, so pretty much the entire month of February, it was win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. The last 12 games, they've gone win one, lose one. So you got to put some sort of streak together at some point in the season in order to secure a spot. And they haven't been able to do it.
Right?
They still haven't been able to win
help.
4 games in a row.
Okay. It's not a big deal. But Markstrom's back, and Markstrom's definitely going to help. For sure.
The
Trade deadline's coming.
But the goaltending hasn't been the issue.
What has been the issue?
Putting the puck in the net. Jack is the only guy that's put the puck in the net consistently. Hala hasn't had up until the last game, he didn't have a point since Thanksgiving. He didn't have a puck bounce off his ass since Thanksgiving. Like, he didn't have 1 point.
Maybe he should just make turkey a regular part of his diet.
Tatar, 4 points in the last 28 games. Cotter, 3 points in the last 17 games. Mercer, 2 points in the last 10 games. If you're not getting any production, zero production out of the bottom 6, you're not going to go anywhere. You need a little bit of something.
Your contributions that got here, my observation was third and fourth line were contributing. Bratt was contributing, and Hischier were contributing. Is that? I mean, it sounds like the third and fourth lines have gone away with their contributions.
Without a doubt.
Bratt Hischier, they're what?
Not consistent.
Yeah.
Bratt definitely needs Hughes in order to be productive. And you got Hischier on the line with Timo Meier, who's been a shell of his former self. So that and Mercer, for the most part too, was on that line for a while, and he's just not productive. So that drags down Hischier through no fault of his own.
I think putting Mercer up there kind of takes him out of where he's more productive, and he's more productive on the third line role than being in that second and first line role.
He was an untradeable guy at one point, and that's
even last season we were talking about that.
That's gone. He can go. Nemec can go if the deal is right. And again, we're talking about a deal for a young player who can put the puck in the net. It's got to be the right player. It's not just for anybody. It's not for Ryan O'Reilly. It's not for
So you're looking for a Tuck at like Buffalo. He's got a year left on his deal, and it's a really good deal. He's still a young guy. Put the puck in the net. That's the type of guy you guys are looking for. But
yes,
right now, guys like that are going to cost you more.
Right, and they don't have a first round pick this year because of the Markstrom deal.
Oh, right, it's in Calgary. Listen, this week is going to be a lot of fun. Last year, there was a lot of trades leading up to the deadline. It was a lot of fun. It made deadline day kind of boring, but I think I'll take that. The lead up has typically been really good.
Well, it's Monday night. We got 4 days left.
It's Monday night?
All day, all night.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, at least for the next 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Anyway,
It's Monday
plus,
night.
we're getting there. Do you think we're going to start seeing some moves tonight or tomorrow? I mean,
Tonight.
tomorrow.
Tonight.
So.
I think there's a couple of games that happen tonight that and Nick, I think the name is Brock Nelson. And
Listen.
I listened to Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts this morning. I had a 4-hour drive down here, so I had nothing else to do in the car. And when he said how much Brock Nelson respects the Islanders and respects the team and is a team guy and probably would want to stay there, I think that's the worst news any Islander fan could possibly hear, because you want to trade these guys to rebuild your organization. Look at the Buffalo Sabres. Look at the New York Islanders over the past 3-4 years. They just haven't changed their lineup enough to be effective. They need to move the guys out who aren't playing well and bring in younger guys and have a kind of rotation of your lineup. You have to reinvent yourself a little bit if things aren't going well.
That's exactly right. And, we all know the reason this hasn't happened in any capacity. It's Lou. He has his own, he's very set in his ways. He does things a very specific way. And it's prevented us from, even selling some of the guys and moving things around. You can buy and sell. You don't have to just buy all the time. You could move guys around to create space.
You mean make a hockey move? Wow.
Make a hockey move.
Ooh.
Create space in your roster so someone else can step in and give you a different dynamic. Like as you put it, like the Isles core has not changed for a long time. The only major changes have been either additions or, when Tavares left. That was a big change. But at the same time, they've been adding piece by piece slowly. And the draft picks that we got really, from after the Tavares years, basically were Dobson and Wallstrom as like top 10. I think they were number 10, number 11 that year. I think it's 2018 draft picks, right? They're back-to-back picks. Wallstrom obviously did not work out. He's gone. And Dobson's, who knows what we got with him right now. He could be a top defenseman in the league. He could be, the next guy going to Russia. I don't fucking know. The point is, all of this, though, is that, we got to figure it out. Nelson, I think they should trade him. If he's loyal and wants to come back, it's great. Other guys have done the same thing, have said the same stuff, and then their teams have said, hey, listen, we'll trade you for a couple months. You get a shot at the cup, and then come back. If you want, it's not a big deal. It's a few months of going somewhere else. It's not like you're cheating on your significant other. You're just going to go play somewhere else for a few months, get same paycheck, and then at the end of it, you don't have to stay there. You can just he's a UFA. He can come back, come home on a sweetheart deal. We'll take him. Like if Lou wants to give him too much money, then he shouldn't sign him. That's it. He's a good player, but like you got to start finding spots. Him and Palmieri are guys that are UFAs this year. They could both be moved for a lot of teams. And specifically, a lot of teams are waiting and watching on what happens with Nelson. And if Lou signals by tomorrow night, or at latest, I would say, let's say Wednesday morning, because let's be honest, Lou's an old man. He's probably gonna, not make a decision until the morning of his coffee on Wednesday, after the Tuesday night game. So we have a game tomorrow night, and so after that game, that's it. There's no more games till the trade deadline. There's no point of doing any of this. Like, should we do it? Should we not do it? And by the way, Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri were both in the lineup. Only people out tonight that were out of the lineup because they were healthy scratches were Anthony Duclair and Pierre Engvall. Neither guy is getting traded.
Duclair? Why was Duclair a healthy scratch?
He hasn't been playing particularly well, and he's come back from a groin injury he had, surgery he had. So, I mean, he's not like, he's only back for a few games, but he hasn't clicked with anybody yet. And he was supposed to play with Barzy and Horvat when he came in. They played great for a few games in the beginning of the season. Then, obviously, he got hurt. Barzy got hurt. Barzy got hurt again. So, I mean, it's just like he hasn't found his spot. So, they played, for instance, seven defensemen tonight. We didn't play 12. We only played 11 forwards. So, it was kind of a different look at the lineup, but either way, in my view, they should trade some of these guys. Mike Riley's coming back probably next week, I guess. I don't think I think he'll probably make the trip to the West. A couple games they have next week. But most importantly, though, is we have we picked up a bunch of defensemen. With all these injuries we had, what are you gonna do with those guys? They can easily trade a guy here and there. They could trade Tony DeAngelo. Tony DeAngelo's is what he is. He's got good skill, but there's a lot of reasons you can see why he's never stuck around the NHL, on a roster. But he'll probably go we could trade him somewhere for probably a third or a fourth. Someone will take a flyer on him going to the playoffs. He has no money on him, so a team that's cash strapped could definitely take a shot at adding him as depth on the playoffs. And then, like I said, Kyle Palmieri probably something a second or third pick. Who knows? Definitely Brock Nelson, a first plus. He's a guy that teams are going to line up and try to go if he's available, which is going to be the big question. So
if he's available,
I say give him a talk. Tell him, go. If you want to be a team player, be available. Go play somewhere for a couple months. Maybe win a cup, and then after that, come back. Guerin, I think Bill Guerin did it a couple times, or Doug Weight. I think they did it when not the Islanders. I want to remember it was Guerin. I think he got traded was it Pittsburgh? Am I wrong, Billy? Did they trade him and then re-sign him next year? It was someone of those guys.
Pittsburgh.
Those guys did.
I mean,
yeah. But anyway, that's my thought. I hope that they put him up.
Yeah, what was also talked about on there was the Penguins and how they're not going to really – they're not trading anybody right now. None of the core players, right? The Malkins, the Letangs, Crosby, they're not going anywhere this year. But as far as Erik Karlsson, though, that looks like to be a different story. Although nobody envisions this happening at the deadline. This more would be a summer thing. But Karlsson being moved even in the summer would do wonders for the Penguins. Not only open up a spot on the back end, but free up some cap space. I know San Jose is taking on a lot of that contract, but still, it's still money
that much of it
that they have to pay.
San Jose kept like $1 million. No, San Jose kept like $1 million a year, something like that.
Right. So that's 10.
Penguins are on the hook for like at least 10. Yeah,
for at least 10, right? So
yeah,
that would be a wonderful thing for the Penguins to get out from and free up some cap space. And do that.
And my thing under my name says trade all of them. The thing with the Penguins is there's not a single player on this team right now where you go, the future of the Penguins and their future success looks like, this guy really should be a part of it. There's not one guy in the roster anywhere that screams that. There's nothing to build around. So just there's nobody off limits. Anybody who can agree to a trade should get moved. Whether it's Karlsson, anybody else, there's nobody I would say, no, don't trade that guy. That's not, we want him for the future. There's not one person. Easy makes it easy for the Penguins at this point.
Yeah. And look, they were talking a lot about, a lot of players on Buffalo's roster and where they would look good. Peterka was one of the guys that there was talked about if he did become available. The Penguins would be all over him, and amongst all other teams that would be all over him. So there's a lot that can happen between now and Friday. We'll tell you everything that our teams do next week. And one of the more exciting things for me that during that segment was, was funny enough. Leah Friedman talked about Artemi Panarin possibly being traded, not for Ryan Leonard, but just the potential of Artemi Panarin being traded. He's coming to the end of his contract. He's got one more year after this at 11-6, something along those lines. But when he does turn free agent, he is going to be 34 years old, and he's definitely not going to make the double-digit salary that he may be making now, and certainly have to take a pay cut at 34. But he can still be a very productive player, especially to a team that has aspirations of winning the cup. So I'm still not done talking this whole Panarin for Leonard thing into existence, and I will continue to do that until it happens.
I suck.
Who knows? I do. I think that could just about cover everything
You
about the
get
Metro. Does anybody have
nothing.
anything?
You lose. Good
Day.
day, sir.
Does anybody have anything specific they want to talk about with their team?
Just that the way, like, the Devils are kind of in a playoff position now, and Steve is so down on them, and you get all three of you guys are ahead of me. I just, while Steve was talking, man, I just wanted to fucking put my headphones down and go kill myself. I mean, Jesus Christ, the Penguins.
Frustrating. It's frustrating.
Oh,
It's
that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, terrific.
I mean, the Penguins aren't out of it. All right. No, you need the buzzer, not the ding. You need the buzzer.
There you go.
All right, let's talk about something fun now. So let's talk about this whole power play contest that we have to find out what team had the absolute best power play lineup in NHL history. We're going to decide on the top 10 teams that we want to focus on. Right.
I prepared that. I prepared a bit of.
I see that. I'm really intrigued to see this whole presentation, Bill. I got to tell you, I'm excited.
I didn't put as much effort into this as maybe the other one. But we got the power play contest, the all-time team power plays of all time. So what?
Let him finish.
This is just spitballing. Nothing's said here. But we're trying to decide on 10 teams, right? That's our first step.
Yes.
This is decide on the top 10. For me, this is not, I'm not going to say it's not debatable, like some people might say. But for me, I was thinking about this. Here's my no-brainers. Here's my 8 no-brainers, represented by our winner, Sydney Sweeney, right? Sydney Smith. Right?
Yeah, I would agree. Bravo.
So, to me, we got the Oilers and the Penguins without even getting into names. The Islanders and the Habs and the Lightning and the Red Wings and the Bruins and the Quebec Nordique / Colorado Avalanche. I just think when you look at their all-time rosters, their all-time power plays, I can't imagine 10 without these guys. Next up, I got like the teams on the bubble where I feel like we can keep on arguing. That's our Stacey Keebler slide, where you got some very talented power plays here loaded with Hall of Famers. You got the Flames and the Ducks and the Blackhawks, the Capitals, obviously with the greatest power play performer of all time, Alex Ovechkin, and the Rangers and the Leafs could put some formidable power plays together.
But after Ovechkin, Mike Green.
That's the thing. I mean, Ovechkin definitely gets them on the butt. Like, they've got some good guys after Ovechkin, but not anywhere near that level. And then this is just the rest of them. I can't imagine any way of putting these guys anywhere near that list.
It's good. It's good.
By the way, Tate McRae, Saturday Night Live. If you did not watch it, highly recommend. She was excellent.
I still have it taped. No. I watched part of it.
Man.
So any arguments for any of these teams?
The Canucks,
maybe. Yeah, I just was thinking there.
I mean, anytime you talk about Pavel Bure, I think he's in the conversation.
I
got Bure and the Sedins. Yeah.
Are we talking about for a year or for the entire organization? Or are we talking about
the entire organization throughout your history?
Entire history of the organization, but
if
only guys who played the most games for that organization.
Played. Yeah,
their most career games.
So you couldn't use Doug Gilmour. You couldn't use, Alexander Mogilny. You couldn't use those guys.
Rangers don't get Gretzky.
Right.
And so forth.
Rangers don't even get Messier.
Nope.
It's close, but
I was actually surprised that they were on my bubble, the Rangers, when I took away all the superstars that never were really fully.
But exactly right. You take away the superstars, and it's like, all right, what's left? They don't have a lot of homegrown talent. So,
but Artemi Panarin is a career Ranger at this point, so he got on my Ranger power play.
He would definitely be on my. He and Leach are enough, I think, to get them on that list. Is 10 right, or do we do 15?
No, you got to do.
No.
No fucking honorable
Well-
mentions on this list.
So I mean, like with
No,
the
but I'm,
Canucks,
I'm saying from the. Yeah, go ahead.
I had the two Sedins, I had Trevor Linden, I had Pavel Bore. I couldn't find the defenseman. You know what I mean? Like it. And even so, like, you know, even when I got to Linden, I'm like, well,
Well, at
we're
that
not
point, it
really
would be
talking
Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes is
Quinn
definitely
Hughes,
for sure.
yeah.
But
Didn't they have Stanis Osalinch? No, Osalinch is, I think, more either an
No.
Avalanche or a Shark.
yeah,
Well, they definitely played Burray on the point on the power play. That's the reason why they had no defenseman to play the power point. They would play the power play rather.
right. So if you go 4 and
I-
1, right? If you go 4
Yeah, and I
forwards
mean,
and 1
typically I'm
D,
going 4-1. I couldn't find the
4-1,
defenseman for the
yes.
Flyers either. Fuck the
I was
Flyers.
thinking about that with
Fuck.
the Islanders
Fuck
too.
the
Same
Flyers.
thing. 4-1.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, they don't. You're right. Like defensemen, I mean, Alexander Edler, he's not on the list really, and he's the top scoring defenseman of all time when it comes to, and he played for 15 years, but he or 400 points in that long in the span. Quinn Hughes is 393 points in 7 seasons. He's a real star. You know, you're right. They don't really have much on defense. It's the Sedins, Naslin, Bure, Bertuzzi, Todd Bertuzzi.
I mean that's really not a bad. That's really not a bad power play.
every one of these teams could put together a great all-time power play. Like, don't
can
get
we-
me
all
wrong.
right. So are we going to debate this now, or how are we doing this?
Well, I think we gotta figure out our 10 teams, and then we could like get into the.
We gotta
and
get
if
to
we gotta
10
like
first.
So let's
go
go
through
back
it,
to
yeah.
the. So what do you got? 8 on the first page. So we need 2 from the bubble.
Yeah.
If everybody agrees with the 8 that I think are
Well-
the quote unquote no brainers.
I would like to see on the bubble teams for the Ducks. You got Korea and Solani, obviously.
Yeah,
And
Getzlaf,
what's the rest
Corey
of that
Perry.
lineup look like?
Niedermeyer? No, I guess Niedermeyer's not.
No.
Played
Steve,
defense.
is there?
Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, yeah, and Cam Fowler as my defenseman.
Corey Perry.
I mean, is that any
Yeah,
better
Fowler.
than the Canucks?
That's the problem. You're gonna run into those for that exact issue. You're gonna see a lot of those
Yeah,
guys.
I think the Solani Korea Getzlaf is better than the Canucks personally, but yeah, I mean that's there's flaws with these teams. There's flaws with these teams on the bubble.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Lindholm-
think the
McKinnon
I think the
blue, or
Blackhawks.
is
I think the
this,
Blackhawks got to make it.
I would.
they're
Yes,
probably in
I
there.
Blackhawks
tend to agree
are-
on the Blackhawks. I was,
I mean,
you know,
Yeah, I
you got
agree.
Nikita, Stan Mikita, then Kane and Taves and
Hull.
Bobby Hull, Chris Chelios. I think that's a really
Yeah. I
Nikita,
think
Kane, and
that's,
Hull. That's a
I
lot.
think that's a top 10.
don't even have Denny Savard on there.
I think that's
Yeah.
a top 10.
You could put him in there as the 4th guy.
And who you got? Calgary.
I think you got to put Calgary because you get Neuendijk, Fleury, and McInnes. Just those 3 guys alone, you could put
And
a
then
couple
a
other
And
Ginla.
a
guys there.
Ginla
That'll
and
be
Gary
just
Roberts,
fine. And a
or Lanny
Ginla, Gary
McDonald.
Roberts. Yeah, I mean,
No Toronto then?
not bad.
You don't think Toronto? Yeah, they got so
Toronto,
many.
Toronto.
Well, that's why I've been talking to expand it a little bit, not just 10. Because I
No,
think
don't
that
think
you got to
Toronto's
give some
gonna
other
have
teams
a good
chance.
list.
I don't
Yeah,
think
now I'm
Toronto's.
looking
Yeah,
at it.
I think
No,
they
you're
fall
right.
prey to they're the Canadian Rangers.
Yeah.
they
you're
got
right.
Matthews and Sundin and Daryl Sittler and Bjorn Salming. I think Mitch Marner
Yeah.
gets on there. Like they're not
Right.
like a
They're
team
not
of
they're
like
not
big
a
scoring
homegrown
history.
talent team.
Yeah.
And they have no players with over 1,000 points for
No.
you know
they're out.
that franchise
In their history.
They're
in
out.
all those years. Yeah,
And they're an original
I mean,
7.
Matthews will probably be if he stays there, but
Yeah, I think
So,
Blackhawks Flames round out the top 10.
Flames. It's pretty good.
so we're not going to have Obi,
Nah.
which I think is I think that's reasonable. But I had like Ovechkin and Backstrom. Gotta find these guys on my list. Ovechkin,
Mike-
Backstrom, Peter Bondra, Mike Gartner.
Yeah,
Neither
if
John
Mike
Carlson
Gardner's
or,
in
like,
your
Sergei
top four,
Gonchar.
I don't think a
Ovi
power
Backstrom.
it's a
Gardner
good power
here.
play
Oh
unit.
boy,
Mike Gardner. He did
Wow.
play 10 years there.
he scored like 700 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
almost
he's like,
almost
nah.
400. Almost 400 for the Capitals.
Nah.
Yeah, but you know,
mean-
it is a tough list to get on. So, I mean, I'm okay with the Flames and
what-
the Blackhawks.
Nothing good about that.
What about the Ottawa Senators?
Yeah, I gave up. I started writing out
They
that
had a
list
lot of,
and
they
then
had a lot of good
then I
quality
gave up.
player.
Yeah, Alfredson, Spezza, Alexei Yashin, Eric
So-
Carlson.
Yashin is an Ottawa
Kachuk.
Senator.
Yeah, he had
Carlson
more.
was probably
he
a
had more.
Senator.
I think just for the fact
I-
that Yashin wore the turtleneck alone, they should be disqualified.
I'm not saying he's
This was
gonna
a
win.
good player,
I'm not saying he's gonna win.
not
Yeah, I
that
don't know.
level.
I don't know. They look like outside of Alfredson, next guy down is Spezza, and then Carlson. I mean, Carlson's great. Yashin's number 4 in the list, and then Wade Redden?
Yeah, no.
Wade
that's-
Redden was
I don't
not
know,
talking
man.
about
He can't be QB1 on a top
I
10
don't know. This is
on a top 10
What
historical.
about Marion Hossa? Hossa's not on. Is not part of that.
Hossa was what team was it? I don't think he was.
yeah, but
I
a
think he
Senator.
wound up
They
playing more.
were Atlanta, Ottawa for a while.
yeah, he played 7 years there. This is the beginning of his
How many games played?
467 there. He played more in Chicago, I think. I
Yeah,
could be wrong.
8 years in Chicago, so he's a Blackhawk.
Yeah, 5'8", Yep, just over that. 534. He had
Yeah.
a little more. I think honestly, now we're talking about it. I kind of feel like Vancouver's probably got to make it in there. They're pretty close, man.
I don't know, but I don't see that how they beat out Ottawa. And if we're leaving Ottawa off, I don't see how they make it.
Yeah.
And again, like I mean, all these teams make a great power play. I mean, the Devils will make a great power play, but I just don't think they're just not at that level. Like we're talking about teams that are just like loaded with like scoring Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So I think we got them then. I think we had our 8 teams. And we have the
right.
the teams on slide 2, and then we take the Calgary Flames and the Chicago Blackhawks, and there are our 10 teams.
There we go.
So now we have to define a roster for each of these 10 teams.
Okay,
Do we
hold on a second.
do we rank them?
That's what I was gonna say. Are we gonna do this bracket style?
Well, I think we have to define
do
the
that.
power play unit before we can break them out into
I think
brackets and
so.
then rank them.
Not to peel back to the curtain for our 2 listeners, but here's a little show prep idea. What if we expand it to 12, and we each take 3 teams and come up with the best power play unit for those 3 teams, and then we could agree on seeding them and then going through some sort of bracket style challenge.
Sure, I'm all right with that.
Fair.
Who are the additional 2 teams?
Well, we never talked about the Rangers power play.
Listen,
was-
if you're talking Panarin, Kreider, Leach,
We're talking old guys too. Raj
Yeah.
O'Bear,
Raj
Panarin, Kreider,
O'Bear.
Leach, Jean Rattel.
John
think-
Rattel.
or-
Yeah, that's
no.
pretty formidable, man.
Or you might throw in a Graves instead of a Kreider or something like that. I don't know, but
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
it's a pretty good one.
I also think Nick was right. I think Vancouver does deserve a legitimate consideration on
Vancouver in
one
there?
of the
Okay.
final 2 as well.
Okay.
Up there.
Well, then,
More so than
there's
Ottawa.
our 12 then.
I'm not taking
Vancouver, New
Vancouver.
York.
I already tried.
What's that, bud?
All right, so Vancouver. When we're making the rosters, I'm not going to take Vancouver. Somebody else
I'll
gets
do
Vancouver.
it. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't want Vancouver either.
We'll do that. We'll do that on another day. We'll do that. So
Sure.
go back to the other slide, Bill, just so I could write down. Edmonton.
We could do a
Pittsburgh,
draft. We get to
New
pick.
York,
We get
Montreal.
to pick 'em. How about that?
Tampa Bay.
A draft
Detroit,
of teams?
Yeah.
Quebec, and Boston.
And then you get to pick the three teams you pick in the draft. You get to pick their rosters, and those get.
Yep.
And then we'll seed them. And go with it.
It's much better than talking about the shitty Devils.
Yeah.
Much better than talking about any of our teams.
Right now.
Oh, you're welcome, Brian. I think I have to have some representation on every slide I make now. It would just be disappointing.
Was there another slide after this? No more slides after this.
No more slides.
Kings fly. Hurricanes are interesting.
Yeah.
They go for more all-around players, I think, rather than the highly skilled power play players. I just always think of them as a very good two-way team year in and year out.
They do get Ron Francis from being a Whaler, but
I'm just really surprised that the Stars didn't get more consideration.
Stars are one of the probably out of this
At this
category,
list?
one of the better ones. Zubov and Ben and
Madonna, Basil McRae,
Neil Brodin,
Gordon Bombay.
No, Bombay never played for the Dallas Stars. Sad. All right, well done.
Good
All
job,
right,
Bill.
so what's the next step?
We'll divvy out the 12 the teams to each other and we'll go from there.
I like it a lot. All right, let's go to the state and see Stomach.
Oh, that feels better.
This one's going to bring us to Europe Roller 2017. Please
Either
go
my
to.
hand is really big or this book is really small.
Oh my God. Are you a giant? Wait,
This
I got to ask you, before we do this. I wrote it down somewhere. I don't have my notes here. They're at home. Did you use the cereal cup yet? We need a review.
No, I haven't because I've been waiting to do that on the show. I've been waiting to use it for the first time on the show.
What the week? What are you waiting for?
Next week. I've been
right.
waiting for you to add it to the agenda.
Put it in the agenda.
I'm going to add it now. I'm adding it right now for next week's agenda.
Let's talk about 2017 for right now. In this notebook that in Brian's hands would look like a full-size notebook.
It would look
like the Encyclopedia Britannica if Brian was holding this.
When Mel Brooks brought down the 15 commandments and one of them fell, that's what it would look like. Anyway, thank you for laughing, Bill. I appreciate that. Please go to May 9th.
I like
May 9.
5/9/17. This was a Tuesday. Breakfast was a Belvita and a can of Coke Zero. Lunch was grilled chicken, fresh mozzarella, roasted red pepper with mayo from Joe's
Delicious.
Meat Market with a Coke Zero 20 ounce. There was a National Honor Society ceremony that was attended. So there was
congratulations.
It wasn't for me, but thank you. Leftover sandwich for dinner and a can of Coke Zero. Tom, why did you pick Tuesday, May 9th in the year 2017?
In probably one of the weirder stories that I've ever found.
Doubt it.
A Florida man is accused of murdering his girlfriend, and he claims she accidentally choked to death while performing oral sex. Exactly. And his unusual defense just might work.
Yes, Brian, that's what she choked on.
According to a renowned pathologist and former New York Medical Examiner, Richard Henry Patterson.
Three names.
65 of Margate now wants permission from a judge to bolster his argument by You ready for this? Showing his penis to a jury to support his claim that Francesca, some Spanish last name, 60, choked to death in her bedroom while performing oral sex on him on October 28, 2015. Patterson's attorney claims in a motion filed on May 1st as an expert witness and former Broward County medical examiner Donald Wright will testify that whatever her last name is, her death is consistent with being accidentally sexually asphyxiated during oral sex.
This is
Say
going
that 17
great.
times. There's quite a number of ways that a sexual activity can lead to an inadvertent death, but I've never heard of choking on a penis.
And your vagina be too wet. 100%. And here's how.
I agree. Penis sizes vary greatly. No shit. Stranger things can happen. No date has been set for the hearing on Patterson's motion to show the jury his gigantic. It's got to be gigantic, right? If he's willing to show the jury, this thing is down. It's like a baby's arm. Yeah.
Tom's a creep.
This is more fitting.
Tom is a weirdo. Where does he come up with the shit? It's so disgusting.
You using the whole fist stock?
Just relax.
That's what she said.
Yeah, let's relax.
I think Brian has a question.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for him to type it.
What?
Brian usually has a question at this point of the story.
I know, but his little fingers can't type that quick.
Type quick enough.
Obviously, it's a big keyboard.
His Vienna sausages are just
typing like this. Here's Brian. Did he come?
I can't type. It's too
Does
far.
he dance around on the keyboard like Tom Hanks and
hey, here you go.
At this point, I would have to say he didn't come, right? I don't know.
That was live audio of her.
If she's down there choking on it, there's no. I mean, it is a great noise, but I don't think that.
And that's not the question I was expecting.
Right. What are you doing?
Poor guy.
Oh
I
man.
did not appreciate.
No,
Sorry,
he
buddy.
did not appreciate
That's
that.
okay.
Oh yeah. Well, we strayed from the agenda just slightly, but I think it all worked out. I think that was more interesting to talk about. I thought it was more interesting to talk about the trade deadline and all of our teams specifically than do any of that. So Friday 4 p.m. trade deadline. See what our teams do leading up until then. Should be very, very exciting. I hope. You know what? I hope Nick breaks one. I hope Nick breaks a trade at some point in the next couple of days.
I'll try.
To us?
Yes, to us.
Thanks, Brian. We tried.
Not in this lifetime.
Not a fucking chance. It's a tight 60. That's what we'd be shooting for, is a tight 60.
No, 45.
We're not going to hit that either.
45.
Fucking change it.
Anything else?
Well, when you can't stream a hockey game, you have to talk about it for 30 minutes. It has to happen. What are you going to do?
It just pissed me off so much. It really did.
I couldn't tell.
Fucking hate. Really? You couldn't tell?
You're playing it cool.
Thank you. But next week, I have the opportunity to be in Southern California. I'll be in the Irvine area, and just so happens that the Ducks will be playing the Washington Capitals on next Tuesday evening. So I'm going to go to that game. And
Obi's record breaker. You're going to see it.
Maybe
couple of hat tricks. Couple of hat tricks, and you could see history.
Listen, I just want a goal from Obi. That's really it. And at this point in time, I think that would be really
awesome.
good. So it would be even amazing if he breaks the record that night. But I mean, they are playing the Rangers on Wednesday. He could have 4 in that game easy.
Oh, that would be so great.
Just saying. I am just saying. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Everyone, thanks for listening. Brian, the other guy, thank you very much. I forgot his name. He's on the.
He doesn't comment anymore.
No, he doesn't. We had a nice conversation with them one time, and then that was it.
That's all right.
That was it. Yeah. But join us next week. We'll talk about all of the exciting trades that happened. Can't wait. Billy, go ahead, say something witty.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Nice.